Good evening, and thank you for joining me. Really inviting you at home to create a space, a mat space, a quiet space, an energetic space for your practice. We're going to be just short of an hour like we already, or as we usually do, and we're going to start in Sukhasana. And Kyle was asking me to share what I was doing with my day. I don't know if you were outside in your garden today. I know I was planting a greenhouse and poking some farmers who were supposed to be planting some hemp for us, hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after. So that was my day. Inviting you to close off your day, wherever it might be, and just find that personal, self-grounded space where we start our practice and end our practice, and ideally holding that meditative container through the movement, through the asana as well. Long, tall spine, finding your version of Sukhasana, heavy sit bones, soften the breath, moving the awareness to the breath. And join me for 3 long, big cleansing breaths, really letting go of the day and moving into the present. Here we go. Big inhale. Inviting as much release as you need. One more big breath to the lower belly. And just softening the breath back to wherever it wants to go. Ideally a nice equal inhale, metronome-like breath through the nose. And for our meditation today, we're just going to do a gratitude meditation. I know we're in changing times, and there's lots to be mad at, angry at, or disturbed by. But there's also lots to be grateful for at the same time. So let's just start by bringing into the mind's eye one of your favorite pictures from nature, somewhere maybe you've been in nature the last few days or even today, maybe your garden, maybe a pathway by your house. Just acknowledging nature, its resilience, its inability to get caught up in what's going on. Just bringing that into the mind's eye, and then bringing down, we'll come to the heart space. Bring that feeling of gratitude, acknowledging nature and all its wonders into the heart. And let's just send that out, that gratitude out to those who might not be feeling as grateful as they should be for nature at this moment. Inhale to the heart. Reaching out. One more, let's reach out to the plants and the animals. Acknowledging them. Good, returning to the mind's eye. Bringing to the mind's eye. Picture one of your favorite people in the whole world. a partner, a child, a husband, a wife, whatever it might be. And bringing down, let's bring it all the way down to the sacral chakra. Bringing that sense of gratitude, acknowledgement, and just thanking that relationship for being there in your life. And let's send it out from the sacral chakra. Inhale to the sacral. Reaching out. And on the next breath, sending that gratitude to that individual. Allow the hands to come together in front of the heart. Sit up a little taller if you can. Tuck the chin in. Closing the meditation. What's your intention? Bring your awareness to what you need from your practice, what you want from your next 45 to 55 minutes. And as you inhale, breathe that in. Exhale, send that out to every cell of the body, informing every finger and toe. One more breath like that. Let the eyes open, wiggle the fingers. We start on the mat. And I like to walk the hands forward, using that to come back into the body. We've been in that meditative state. Let's come back into the world of form. Let's find the tabletop pose, my favorite starting pose, because it's here that we can dance and feel the whole body. So close the eyes and just move around. Don't let the rules of any poses or postures stop you from maybe getting into that wrist that's feeling a little sticky, or that hip that's feeling a little tight. Just taking 2 more breaths. And acknowledging any injuries or tight spots and honoring your modifications as we go. Let's take 2 big breaths of cat-cow. Inhale, drop that belly. Exhale, pull the belly up and in. 1 more. Get long in the spine. Curl the spine in. Good. We're going to take the right leg back so we come into a strong tripod, which we often do. And this starts to engage the core. It's a more active pose. Let's take the left arm forward. Just 2 big tiger curls. Let them be big ones. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl. 1 more. Good. Let's ground down. Take a breath of cat-cow. Be soft. Wide the fingers. We use that breath to rinse away the first side. Left leg back. Right arm forward. 2 long, big curls. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl. Again, grounding. Back to that stable tabletop. And then a cat-cow breath to rinse that all away. Good. From here, we're going to come onto the toes. So widen them. Ground them. Make sure the wrists are stacked. We push down through the hands, and we draw the tailbone up. And we're going to take the leg out to the side and down. Let's do 2 each side. Up and down. Up and down. 1 more. Good. Let's bring the knees down. Patter out the feet. And we're going to drop into child's pose for just a moment. Just as a way to remember, child's pose is part of our practice. If you need to do a child's pose instead of a dog pose or a dolphin or something, you can always do that. Sit bones are back, knees are wide, and I'm melting my forehead down. And this is our grounding pose. If you also not sure what to do with zombie apocalypse, you can always come into child's pose and just breathe it out for a few breaths. Good. Now from here we're going to get active and we're going to get wide fingers. We're going for dog pose. So we bring our heart forward, engage those nice open toes, and remember it's a dancing dog pose. And all the dog pose rules apply. Keep your bum reaching back. Keep the heels melting down as the heart melts towards the toes. And we want to sway a little bit, move around a little bit. One more breath. Find a nice dog pose. And then to the top of the mat we go. Inhale, get long and tall. Exhale to the heart. Maybe adjusting any clothing that got out of place. Here we go. 3 big swan dives. I like to be hip distance. Maybe your big toes together, whatever your favorite feet. Reach on that inhale. Dive and fold on the exhale. 2 more. Reach higher. Fold deeper. Last one, biggest one. Let's invite some back bend. Open that upper chest space. And then it's to ragdoll we go. There's a million ways to do ragdoll. I like to put some shoulder movement and a little bit of bobbing. Maybe you like a little more side to side. Maybe the classic, grab the elbows. If you're really bendy, your hands might hit the floor, so you might need to grab something. And here we're noticing what's tight. Where's tight? Where's sore? Where's soft? Whatever. You might even notice how much dirt you have in your toes because you've been walking barefoot in the garden. One more breath. And then we come back to center. Engage the 4 corners of the feet and then roll up confident, assertive mountain pose. Mountains aren't soft. They are strong and assertive. Here we go. Starting from mountain pose, the sun salutation. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive and fold. Inhale, half lift. And then we fold to plank. And we can always modify to the knee version of plank. Let's lower chaturanga. Keep the elbows in. Press the tops of the feet in as you back bend. And then pushing through the knees as I'm demonstrating, or more likely going straight back into dog pose. So I was just showing the mod there. And there's no shame in ever using the knees for chaturanga. Sometimes I do it in our classes together just as a way of saving a little energy so I can focus on teaching. But don't feel the need to do that at home. If you need to be more assertive in your practice, do the full chaturangas. Let's find the top of the mat. Step there, jump there, whatever gets you there. And back to the heart. Good. We're going to do the super sun salutation. So we start with chair pose or Utkatasana. Inhale, the arms can go up. They can also stay on the side. And exhale, the bum comes down. And we want to always keep that upper chest. I find keeping my arms down helps keep my upper chest open. Sometimes the upper arms can be a little challenging. What do you need in your chair pose? Take one more breath there. Inhale, let's straighten everything. Exhale, fold. The half lift, that's our relaxed breath. Before we get into the yang, which is our dog pose, or our side plank from plank. So we roll to the right foot. We stack. We don't let the hips fall. We keep them up. We extend out through the crown. We can reach forward with the arm. We can reach up. And we roll through the toes to the second side. And our modification, which I'll demonstrate here, is the knee under the hip. So I can keep focusing on the long, lengthening version of myself. As you're ready, back to plank. Lower chaturanga. Back bend with an open heart. And then dog pose. Good, we're going to go for runner's lunge. Let's do left leg first. He always goes second. Inhale, her or him up. Exhale, step them through. You can use the mod, but we probably don't need the mod. Stay in the long lunge if you can. Long through the chest. It's a slight tuck of my tail so I can sit. And then the arms come up. We're going to go for warrior 3. So as you're ready, you can do one step. Like I'm going to attempt here. Here we go. And I'm being mindful it's a balance pose. I'm keeping that upper chest open. Sometimes we want to crunch it, open it. One more breath. Good. An inhale, step way back. Exhale, we go through the vinyasa. I'll come with you. You can float the leg or not. And all roads lead to dog pose. Find yourself there. Find your breath. And here we go. Right side. We didn't forget about you. Inhale up. Exhale, step all the way. And if you don't get there, help that leg. There's no shame in helping out yourself when you need to. And the arms can go up. And if that's something that you want to try, some cactus. And then we can come into warrior three. Now you can also do a couple steps like this. A little more cautious. We want to get flat. I'm reaching out through my heel, keeping my chest open. Good. And we're going to actually come just to the top of the mat. So once you're done with that, let's just come all the way back. And we're going to do a big dive fold. So bring your big toes together. Let's try a big dive fold. Wash that away. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. And if you can, grab a big toe or the back of your ankle. Good. And just melt down. You can pull lightly. And we're really trying to bring the belly up into the chest so we can fold. One more breath. Good. And then letting go. Let's do a big half lift. And then roll up. We're going to play with some tree pose. And you can make tree pose more difficult at home by closing the eyes or grabbing for the big toe. Let's start with the left leg. Weight goes there first. Then we mono out the leg. Then we open up the pelvis. Above the knee. Oh, if it's a wobbly day, maybe it's a below the knee day. Or if it's really a wobbly day, heel above heel. I'm going to go below the knee today. It's one of the versions I don't usually do. Focus on opening your chest, drawing the lower belly in so you're standing up straight. And I'm using the pressure in my right leg to anchor into my left, which is my root of my tree. Keeping my shoulders down my back. And I'm doing whatever kind of branches that I need to do. You can have some fun with your branches. Good, and as you're ready, let's draw the branches in. Let's square it out. And then let's ground it down, do a little shake out. We're going to go straight into the second side. Just mini little trees poses today. But it's one step at a time. Weight into the foot. Become a mono leg. Become a pelvis open mono leg. Our most common tree pose is anchoring above the knee joint. Open through the pelvis as you ground. Some people like to imagine roots growing down through their feet. Those roots growing, and just like your plants in your garden at home, after they grow the roots, then they take the nitrogen from the soil and they grow big. And if you have flowering plants, like tomatoes and cannabis perhaps, after you grow big, you flower. So if you want to make a little flower, you can do that. There's my little flower. Good. And we're contracting. So back to the body, I bring my arms. This anchors me. I'm still anchored through my foot. I square back, and then I come down, and I shake it all about. Good. Let's do another Super Sun Sal. This time we're going to add some side twists, and we're going to go a dash quicker. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sit down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist. So I'm taking my right elbow over, and I'm pushing my hands into each other so my chest stays open, and I'm low in the squat. On an inhale, I extend, and on an exhale, I find the second side. So it's just a quick 2 breaths. Just inviting some twist. Inhale, straighten it all out. Exhale, dive and fold. Half lift. And what we're going to play with this time, exhale, fold, is going just really smoothly, but quickly. So it's just a quick breath. Fully in the side plank, and then fully onto the next thing. I back bend on the inhale, thighs are drawing together, and then it's dog pose. And if dog pose is too much, it's a child's pose moment. Take 2 more breaths in your dog pose. And then we're going to go down to all fours. So meet me there, dropping your knees from your dog pose. Let's find the tripod. We're going to play with half moon. This is the modified version. I really like this pose because it's a great for all ages, all abilities, and you can make it harder by taking the left leg off the ground or adding a bind. One more breath. Don't let this leg sag. Mine was starting to sag. I felt it. Back to square one, or back to all fours. Big breath of cat-cow. Be dramatic, and release something. Good, and then the second side. So you get to see me from the back. So I'm stacking my hips, making sure my clothes aren't falling off, and then stacking the shoulders. And I'm pushing down with the right arm, reaching up with the left, and reaching out through the crown and the heel away from each other. So my spine is long. Back to the cat-cow to rinse that all away. Good, we're going to play with some dolphin pose. It's not a forearm dog pose, but it kind of looks like one. It's different because forearms are heavy here. Dog pose has heavy feet. So if this was just a forearm dog pose, we'd have heavy feet. But we have light feet. Walk them in and breathe. Good. And then from here, let's move the weight into our feet. Come on to the hands for dog pose. Adjust as you need. Everybody's different. I also can't see myself, so I might not be perfect. Probably aren't. But know that the sit bones are reaching back. They're flowering. My heels are driving down as they get heavy. My heart's reaching for my toes. Good. And from here, we're going to find crow pose. So let's walk the hands towards the feet. I'm just going to adjust so you can see me a little better. So our best crow pose is a nice low crouch. There's your anchored hands. They're shoulder distance and they're drawing in like this, and my shelf is here, my triceps. Good. I bring my knees in to those triceps, trying to come onto the back of them, not squeeze. And then the feet come up, and then they might come together. Good. Take another breath or two there, and then ground the heels and bring the bum low. I've seen some of you use the block like this. In my class is a mod where you can come all the way down. This is a modification. And if you don't have a block at home, well, save the modification for another day, or don't worry about it. We're just doing a little bit of goddess pose, or yogi squat, sorry. Good. And either stay here for another 10 breaths, or let's do a quick straighten. Best approach is nice close feet. Crouching. I'm going to come onto the floor here. And you can use a crash pad if you're at risk of face diving, which every new crow pose person has to do at least once. Coming back into the yogi squat. Another modification too is resting on those knees if that's a little bit more for you than you need. Invite some movement. Whatever you need. Take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to do a nice wide-legged fold. So you're probably on the other way on your mat. Let's inhale straight. Let's go about as wide as the mat and then fold. See how that feels. Good, let's add a twist here. So take an inhale and get long. And on the exhale, take your fingers out to the left foot and go past the toes, over to the heel. See what you can find. Good. Let's come back to center. I like to do a half lift at the middle. And then over to the other. So the other foot gets that same kind of fresh opportunity. Back to center. And let's put some weight into your hands. Bring your feet together. You're probably at the back of your mat. Walk your hands to the top of the mat for dog pose. Take a breath there. And then gaze into the hands. I'll meet you at the top of the mat. Step there, jump there, find your way there. Pushing through the feet and exhaling to the heart. Good, we're gonna get wide with our legs. So let's ground into the left leg, take a big step with the right, bring the feet parallel. So I'm kind of medium wide. We're going for another wide-legged forward fold. Now it's the wide version. Inhale, reach. And bring your awareness to what feels a little different. We did the toes together. We did the wide as your mat. Now we're wider than the mat. How does that feel? And based on how bendy you are, you might be able to go a little wider. Feeling like I was a little too close there. One more breath. Good. Hands to the waist. Push down with feet and hands. Let's come up. We're going to find warrior two. So I move my foot, my left foot, and I got my perpendicular feet. I'm going to actually walk it out an extra inch because I know I can go lower. And then I drop into that knee. And as I do that, I bring this back and I'm open, just like tree pose. I'm open in my pelvis. Good. Let's go up on an inhale. And then back. Reclined warrior. Lengthen through that left side body. One more breath. Good. Let's get humble. So I come up. I bring my heart forward. My hands come behind my bum. And interlace. And I surrender. I don't know about you, but all the, we'll call it fascist BS going on in the world sometimes brings up some anger. So just let that go. Forgive yourself for being angry when you see other humans being damaged. Forgive yourself for being angry when you see some silliness going on. Letting go of the pose, pushing up through the feet. Let's find the second side. Good. As I surrender into the lunge, this is a lunge pose. So your feet should be just as wide as your runner's lunge. I draw the thigh back and I spiral. And I see those two big toes there. I sit down low. Then the arms come up. My chest is open. It's an extension of my open pelvis. Up on an inhale. And then back. I was once given the tip of taking your back hand, pressing it into the leg just a little bit, and then press the leg back into the arm. See what happens. Good, let's get humble. And if all the anger and sadness is gone, then just come into humble warrior. But if you're like me and there's still a little bit there, just let it go. If they knew better, they would do better. A spiritual guru told me once. And if you know better, just do better yourself and hope that people are watching like your children. Good, unweaving. Coming up, here we go. Your favorite inversion for 12 breaths. I'm going to workshop tripod headstand because that's where we always should be starting from. Inhale, reach. And my more advanced inverters, I invite you to come from wide legs into your favorite inversion. For those of us who are working on our tripod headstand, we start from the knees. And we make a triangle. And we get used to some weight on the head. Sometimes that's enough. Then we put more weight into the hands. One at a time. We come up, and then all the fancy leg variations come up from there. My favorite is the straddle pike. Just find it so easy. Notice those wide legs. I can come back down to my wide-legged forward fold where I'm going to meet you. All right, so I've just landed on my feet. I come up slowly, and we're going to find goddess pose to wash that away. So bring the feet in a little bit, splay them out, and then we sit down. It's just a chair pose. It's a disguised chair pose. We disguise it with some goddess, some divinity. I'm keeping my knees wide. I'm feeling a little bob. That's feeling good for me. Close your eyes and do what feels good for you. Cactus out the arms for a little more shoulders. Sit a little lower. If you're feeling really badass, come up onto the toes. 2 more breaths. Find stillness. Good. Inhale, let's straighten. Bring the feet together. Exhale, let's fold. And just do a little side to side. You can do the lunge thing that we usually do. I'm feeling like a little more wide-legged ragdoll myself. What do you need? Do that for the next 3 breaths. And really just want to like, our legs worked really hard on that sequence. That's the standing leg sequence. So just let that all go away. And then hands to the waist, and as you're ready, coming all the way up. Feet to the front of the mat. And we're going to do a sun salutation. I'm not going to join you. I'm going to meet you in dog pose. I want you to close your eyes if you can. You know this sequence. Don't feel the need to follow, have me lead you. I'll lead you verbally. Here we go. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding to plank. Through the vinyasa, we keep those elbows close as we lower. And then we press into the tops of the feet for the back bend and lengthen through the heart space while expanding the chest. And then push it into dog pose. Good. We're going to actually meet you at the top of the mat. Take one more breath in your dog pose. Be there. And then find the top of the mat. Step there, jump there, whatever gets you there. If you have blocks at home, pushing through the feet coming up. Finding your Tadasana. Finding your blocks if you have some. And I'm going to just stand here so you can see me a little better. But just stay at the top of the mat if that's where you are. The blocks are on either side of the front foot, which this case is going to be our left. And then let's take a half step back. And I'm giving you my side angle so you can see my half spec. It's not a massive step where I start to lunge and lift heels and stuff. And it's not like this mini step. It's a half step. I'm square to the front. And then I'm going to fold. Here we go. Inhale, reach. And as I fold forward on the exhale, the bum goes back. I'm reaching those sit bones back. I'm pulling the belly and all the forward fold stuff. And my blocks are here. And if you have only one block, just put it here. And if you don't have any blocks, well, that's okay too. All are loved and accepted here. So we're just breathing. We're doing an isolated hamstring stretch. Good. So then from here, we're going to find half moon. So we're going to take our left block and our left hand, and we're going to do the whole about 24 inches, maybe 20 if you're shorter, 26 if you're really tall. And what this does is as I stack my shoulder over my wrist, I come into a balance pose. And we did this on our knees. Whoa, a little wobbly. I stack my hips and then my shoulders. Good. One more breath. And then I'm coming back to my second block. I'm squaring my hips. And we're doing just a short version today. And I'm going to square back to my half step. I'm sliding my blocks in as I half lift. And then I'm folding back to the blocks. I know some of you used to join me for the 75-minute classes, which hopefully will come back. What we're doing here is a shortened version. So sometimes I skip stuff or miss stuff or shorten stuff. If you need to add the stuff back or do a little more at home, do so. Let's come up. Oh, let's do a little float switch. Hands to the waist. Haven't done one of those for a while. Those of you who are doing your float switch, strong arms as the root of any handstand. And I fold. And then I give my weight to my hands. And I float. Ooh, that wasn't very good. Let's do one more. And the best way to practice and improve your float switch is to do a couple at a time. So we can do 3 here. So as you come up onto the hands, switch the feet. That one wasn't very good. This one will be better. I can feel it. So I'm not trusting myself coming up enough. There we go. And I land my left foot, so I've switched feet. Good. Here we go. Same sequence, other side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. And my blocks, wherever they've moved to, I bring them back. And they're not way forward because then I'll start to lunge. No lunging. Bum back. I should be sitting equally into both feet. and melting down the hamstring. Excuse me. And here we go. So we've done the modified version. Now we're doing the full version. So it's about 2 block lengths or so. That feels right for me. First, find the balance, then stack. And that's why I was really wobbly on the first side, is I did it too fast. And I'm also imperfect, as are you. So just do the best you can. And if you have a badass half moon, close the eyes or add a bind. There's always advanced modifications. Good. Coming back to square. And I'm landing that back foot where it started. Really important on the half lift. I take my weight back into my feet, and then I fold down, and I bring the blocks back so I'm not lunging for my blocks. Good. And I'm feeling that my half step is not so good, so I've adjusted it. I can feel it more. One more breath here. Good. Hands to the waist. Slowly come up. And we're going to wash it away with the super sun. We're going to add the twist again. So here we go. I should move my block. I'm moving around my mat just so you can see me in certain angles. I trust you're kind of following your mat more. Meet me in chair pose. Inhale, reach. We're going straight to the twist. So just find your chair and then inhale to the twist. And then we go to the second side. Good. Let's go straight on. Inhale, everything. Exhale, dive and fold. And we're going to play with the dolphin side plank, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. So we go to plank, and then we come down to dolphin plank, and then we take the left wrist, or left hand over to the right. So you see that nice shelf that I have there? Good. And then you go to the other side, I just put it above or below. One will feel more natural. And then I take the left hand and I push up into plank. Boom. And then it's just a regular Vinyasa. Back to dog pose. Good. Let's take the right leg up. We're going for pigeon. So we come forward into this plank-like thing. The foot comes across. We come down. And look, there's my lovely blocks again. And so colorful they are. And I'm in active pigeon. So active pigeon, often we're staying on the back toes, as I am, but we don't have to be. And we're sitting up, often coming even into back bends and other fancy moves. So please do your fancy moves at home. Take another breath. And then we surrender. I like to often bring my foot a little forward and back, so I open the pelvis before coming down. And ideally, we're supporting the forehead, either on a block. It's feeling nice for me to have my forearms supported here. You can also put the block under the bum. What feels good to you? I'm long in the spine, and I'm surrendered to the pose, but feeling a stretch and breathing into that feeling. That's where we should be here. Good. And we're just going to push straight back to dog pose. So I'm moving my blocks out of the way and engaging my nice strong arms under the shoulders. And then I engage my left toes. This gives me the tripod that I want. So I can push back to a flailing, dancing, shaking the booty kind of dog pose. And all of these movements, as choreographed and awesome as they seem, are just to shake that off. So be a little silly back at home and find your way back to that dog pose. Good. And then come up on an inhale and find your second pigeon. I like to come forward, then across, then down. I locate my blocks, which are supporting me in my active. And I sit up. And I'm just demonstrating with the blocks today. There's lots of different versions. I'm just licking my colorful blocks. Maybe you're interlacing your hands behind your back or reaching for that right foot. Those are options too. And then we come down to the forearms, and I really like to take my back leg further back to really feel it in the pelvis. So the knees should be further away here in our sleeping version, known as swan pose in the yin practice. Yin being a lovely practice for after a hard day in the garden, bike riding with the kiddos, whatever you're up to. Something more active like this practice is nice, especially if you've been more in the office for the day. Take 2 more breaths, breathing into whatever needs to be breathed into. And then we're going back to dog pose. Here we go. And you remember the sequence of things. Props out of the way. Find the tripod. The flailing, dancing, funny, little bit silly, but super important to shake off that pose, dog pose. And then we're going to do last dolphin. So we can just drop straight onto the forearms or knees, forearms, toes. So let's call it the mod. And from here, pushing back into dog pose or into child's pose. And if you're in child's pose, move from your child's pose into dog pose. And take 4 more breaths there. I'm not going to join you. And remember the 4 dog pose things. Wide fingers, heart reaching for the toes. That takes the bum up and back. 2 more breaths. Let the heels be heavy. And if you're nice and open, shorten your stance. Take 1 more breath there. I'll meet you at the top of the mat. Gaze there. It's the last time we're going there, so jump or float if that's your thing. And if we're floating, we're landing, pushing through the feet, coming all the way up. Good, now we're going to do a zombie squat. Inviting you not to be a zombie when things are changing outside your doors. Inviting you to use that throat chakra, which also includes the ears, which listen, and to speak your truth. It's all we have sometimes. Zombie arms. Zombie face is super optional, but again, can be fun and silly. And we come up onto the toes. And then let's do 2 breaths to slowly sit down. I'm going to adjust the side angle in just a second. So we're slowly trying not to fold. We're trying to sit with a nice flat back. And if you need your hands to support you, try and do it without your hands. You can do that. Onto the back of the bum, the Navasana. And we're going to do a twist here. So keep the legs where they are. Let's take a big inhale. And then to the left. And then back to center. Let's find classic Navasana. Just 2 breaths, nothing crazy. I open up my chest. I reach my pinkies. I maybe straighten out my legs. And then as you're ready, we're going to reverse tabletop. So I bring my feet down hip distance. I move my weight into my bum, and then I take the weight from my bum into my hands that are facing forward, or some people like to face out. I'm a bit more of a forward kind of guy. So that's the way I'm going to face. And the gaze goes back. Push into the forelimbs. Push hard. Reach the belly button up. And as you're ready, we bring our bum so far back that you can see your thumbs. That's important. So you want the bum really far back, watching out for things you might sit on, so that the tail is out the back. Inhale, reach, get long. Exhale, fold. Get even longer. Make a friend with your toes. You can even do the whole block on the end of the feet thing. It's a little bit out of my pay grade, but you get the idea. What's your forward fold? Go deeper. Go deeper into your forward fold practice. Good. And we're going to roll up and we're going to do one more. So if you want to do a reverse plank, which is often the kind of progression, we ground into the heels and we come up into a plank shape. And if that's not what you want to do, step the feet in for another reverse tabletop. Maybe come up on your toes or do something fancy. Gaze back, open the heart. Breathe for 2 breaths. And again, the bum comes really far back. This time we're going to go wide knees. And I like to just give it a grab to make sure it's behind me and not under me. So my tail. And it's a bit more diamond shape. You can come in closer or do the real far. I like kind of middle. Inhale, reach. Find your forward fold. Exhale, fold. And you can use blocks and props. Props are your friend. Invite you to get creative with them. This is also a good pose to see how dirty your feet are. You should have dirty feet in at the end of May. It's June 1 today, I understand that. But it's a good time to have dirty feet. That means you're outside doing stuff without shoes on. That's important. And as you're ready, it's a delicate pose. So help those knees up. A couple windshield wipers maybe. The sitting variety. Good. And then we're going to crab walk our way to the top of the mat because we want lots of room behind you because we're going to come all the way onto the back body. And you can do it elegantly with grounded feet and slowly millimeter by millimeter fold all the way back. Or you can just flop down. And when you flop down or come down gently, ground all the ribs in and then bring the knees in for a hug. Maybe give that sacral a little massage, whatever you need. Good. And let's just send a breath of gratitude out to you. So see how quickly you can summon that vibration of gratitude that we had earlier. Bring it down to the solar plexus, which is between the heart and the sacral chakra, our place of creation, our place where we yell from. Inhale there, and then send gratitude to you. Let the feet come down. Find a windshield wiper. We're going to do one back bend. If you got wheel in your practice or a badass forearm wheel or something like this, now's your chance. I'm going to demonstrate bridge. I'm feeling in a bridge kind of mood myself. Here we go. Pick your back bend. I got my bridge legs, which are nice and close into my bum and also about hip distance apart. I'm bringing my shoulders down my back and notice I'm uppering my chest and moving to my shoulder girdle. I might grab the ankles. I might squeeze a block. Oh, that's a great idea, actually. Squeezing a block. If you got one at home, strongly recommended. Here we go. Push into the feet and then push into the shoulder girdle. I'm lifting my heart. I'm lifting my belly button. And my strong legs are squeezing the block or the imaginary block. And I'm pushing and breathing. 2 more breaths. Maybe take 3 because we're doing just 1. So stay a little longer. And if you're doing wheel, remember to come down gently. Move any props. Slowly bring the bum down. And then take whatever you need. Just listen to the body. Windshield wiper is a common one. Another nice one can be the knees for the hug with a little shaking. Happy baby can be another one. Sometimes it's nice just to come down and do nothing for 2 breaths and just be. Take 1 more breath. Good. If you want to sneak a shoulder stand in at home, now is your chance. I'm going to do a quick demonstration of the modification. And I'm going to do just 6 breaths. So come up into your favorite shoulder stand. So here's our most common modification. And really encourage you, if you're not doing the regular version, to do this modification, because by putting the block under the sacrum, it raises the hips and really makes it a inversion. You can do this without a block, or even with the legs up the wall, which is like the first place to start. But those are arguably not as inverted because the hips are not higher than the shoulders, which they are here. Good. And when it is time to come out, come slowly, ground the feet, move any blocks. For those of you doing the full version at home, I know it's a bit of a short one. Come down slowly. And then find your favorite chest expanding pose. Because I did the modification, I'm just going to do a little baby bridge with some wiggling, just to kind of open my chest. If you did the full version at home, make sure you do a nice fish pose or a really good bridge to open that upper chest. And then come down, bring the knees in for a hug. And just meet me here. We're going to do a quick supine twist before we close our practice. If there's another pose you need to squeeze in, you can squeeze it in now or squeeze it in after the supine twist. And we're going to go medium pace. So we'll do about 10 breaths per side. My favorite version is the leg cross. You can do the legs together, mono leg. Works just the same. I slide my bum over to the left. My left leg is on top. That gives space for me to fall all the way onto the hip, which is important. We want to be on that whole hip. And then I can gaze over the other way. I like to help the knee stay down with a little pressure from my arm. And this is when I surrender. This is when I just breathe. I let this pose do the work. I'm expanding through my chest into my shoulder. I'm long in my spine. And as it's time to come out, I like to anchor my hands and bring everything to center. And then do whatever I need to do to wash that first side away. I realign. And here we go. Second side. Over goes the right leg. Over goes the bum. A couple inches to the right, creating room to fall onto that hip. Once I'm on the hip, I'm long in the spine. And then gazing. And there's a surrender here. Find it. Good, and then we're untwisting. And if there's a pose you need before Happy Baby in Shavasana, now's your chance. Squeeze it in. Doesn't have to have a name. It could be just some random movement. Otherwise, it's Happy Baby time. And I acknowledge you're no longer a baby, but you first mastered this pose as a baby, whether you know it or not. It's a natural movement. And what's nice about it is it has no alignment cues. It's very different every time. Side to side rocking, leg kicking, grabbing the toes or ankles. I've seen some people even grab the calves or just below the knees for a slightly different sensation. And I do this at the end of the practice because it's the easiest way to get any movement, any energy stuck in the body out. Get it all out, because Shavasana is a surrendering, non-moving pose. Best done with all the movement complete. And really, Shavasana symbolizes the end of our asana time together, because it's here where we go into the other parts of the yoga practice. We start to bring the mind, body, and soul together, playing with the worlds of form and non-form. So as you're ready, join me here. And I'm going to leave you here. So get comfy, get cozy. Plan for at least 2 more minutes, if not 3, 4, or 5. Soften. Allow the digestion of the practice on the mind, body, and soul level. melt into the mat. I want to thank you again for joining me today, inviting you to enjoy the summer and spring season. I'm leaving you here in Shavasana. Look forward to seeing you on another Monday. The light in me has witnessed the divinity in you. Thank you again. You have been witnessed. Namaste.